As of the end of 2022, Bleach is back and in full force, baby. No longer can we be hated, no longer can you keep them down. We have risen up. If you know anything about Bleach, you know that for the longest time it received a bandwagon of hate, especially after it was believed to be cancelled in 2012. Most may not wonder this, but I know there are some astute individuals out there who ponder how Bleach ever managed to stay relevant even amongst its fandom after its anime and manga ended. Sure, there were YouTube channels who still talked about the series, but with only hardcore fans caring about the light novels and those channels as a whole, it may be difficult to tell how Bleach stayed on life support and bounced back after so long. Surely the war between haters and fans wasn't enough to keep Bleach relevant for a whole decade, right? Fans had to have something to keep their hopes of Bleach's triumphant return alive, and their hope came in the form of
Bleach! Brave Souls!
That's right, Nyogo. Bleach was so beaten down by the haters that its remaining life force was reduced to a mobile game, and a gacha game at that. But don't let its outer shell fool you. This may look like the average Japanese gacha game to most, but what's under the genre is that and more. Unlike some games I know that use simple tap to play and glorified flash animations to gain and maintain audience attention, this game is more interactive, acting almost as a 3D beat-em up if you will. Of course, as a gacha game, you will need to grind and there's a certain amount of luck involved as well. But when you do eventually get lucky enough to get an OP character per se, the game becomes much more inviting in difficulty and more fun as a result. I don't really want to talk about the game itself so much as how it kept Bleach alive for a whole decade, and I don't really have a good segue into that, so back to the main topic. Bleach Brave Souls was released in January of 2016, only months before the manga's conclusion in August of that same year. And although it would gain some popularity that year, it didn't really pick up steam until the summer of next year, in 2017. That's when they started putting out the really fun characters, and earlier that year is when I started playing the game. Back then, it was a little niche gacha game for Bleach fans to enjoy. And now it's that same thing, only with a bigger player base. Honestly, I think now the biggest appeal of the game, aside from the new character designs, is the fact that it's probably the best Bleach has to offer in terms of games. I mean, hell, it even has its own opening, which is the best opening song in all of Bleach, and I will stand by that no matter what. Of course, for a few years before the anime was confirmed to be in the works, aka 2018, people were desperate for Bleach news. And as per usual with these kinds of things, nothing could be trusted with all the fake leakers lurking around and junk. Nothing except Bleach Brave Souls, that is. Try saying Bleach Brave Souls 5 times fast, golly. Believe it or not, Bleach Brave Souls was where the real fans looked to figure out when the anime would return. For you see, the game had already released characters for every part of the story except the Thousand Year Blood War arc. But people who played the game knew sooner or later, they would begin to add the Stern Ritter. It was only a matter of whether they would give voices to them or not. Because if they had voices, they had an anime. The logic for those who lack critical thinking skills being nobody in Japan is going to hire famous voice actors just for a niche mobile game about a practically dead anime. So if they got new voice actors for the Stern Ritter in a mobile game, an anime continuation was guaranteed. Buck was released in the game and people got excited for a bit, but quickly died down when everyone remembered Buck already had a voice in Old Man Zangetsu. Yes, I remember that time fondly when everyone thought Buck was pronounced Yawatch, including me. Thought it was pronounced that way too. Yawatch. So some more time passes, and another anniversary celebration later, the Stern Ritter are released, and while I remember hearing about it, I myself had grown tired of the game and was taking a break at the time. Though I do remember the moment fans were up and hyped about the first wave coming out. Askin, Bambietta, and Candace were the first batch of Stern Ritter to be released. As I said, I wasn't playing when they were released, so I don't have them, and therefore lack footage. And I'm too lazy to get someone else's footage. I could do it, but honestly, I feel like it takes less work to just do it myself than to get someone else's footage, even though that's kind of backwards. I feel it's worth mentioning that even before the first batch, they released Tokinata and Hikone, 2 characters from the Can't Fear Your Own World novels. After the second wave of Storm Raider, they released another, and after the third wave, they released 2 more. As I said before, they wouldn't pay new and well-known voice actors just for a niche mobile game. I don't believe they hold the funds for that.
So we don't have the capacity.
So in saying that, I think we can look out for a Can't Fear Your Own World anime after the 1000-Year Blood War finishes. I, for one, can't wait. So yeah, that's how Bleach survived on life support for that decade it was dying. Voice actors in a mobile game. And that's all I really gotta say. I didn't want this to be a whole review of the game, though I might make one in the future. I just wanted to let people know that Bleach and its fandom were kicked down so bad that we were reduced to a mere gacha game on mobile devices, and that we also bounced back from that, so if we can get back from that, we can survive anything. Don't got nothing else to say, so we bite.